Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my baggage droppers around the world, welcome to another Drop Your Baggage podcast update with my main man, Nathan Todd here. Now, Nathan, he released the negative emotion of shame. And wow, let's go ahead and see how he's been doing. What's up, Nathan?
Hey, man, it's good to see you. It's a great day. It's a cold day here in South Carolina, but it's a great day.
Amen.
And how have I been doing? Well, we were just talking before we hit the record button about social media. So if you didn't go back and listen to the first episode, make sure you stop it right now. Go back, hear what we talked about. So we talked about shame. And during that episode, you asked me what was coming up because I was laughing a lot and like the conversation I was having. And the one word that kept coming up was relax. Right. And so we were talking about this Instagram post that I made that got a lot of views and a lot of traction, and how people that were taking the time to comment, they were all negative comments. And one comment that it cracks me up is the fact that they said, "You're what's wrong in the world today."
What did you post about, bro? Damn.
Yeah, so it was a post from a therapist who works with children, and the whole conversation was around how powerful the use of disappointment is. When a parent says, "I'm disappointed in you," and she was like, "We think that might be a great thing to say. It might get the behavior we want, but all these kids are coming in and they're saying, I feel so much pressure to never let my parent down and to live up to the expectations that I think they have for me." Right. And so I was like, wow, this goes far beyond being that kid, as we talked about in my other episode too. Like, those kids grow up. And so I made a reaction to it where I was talking about, this is like the idea of who we think we're supposed to be. And this is why the world is so lonely. Everybody thinks they're supposed to be something based on someone else's definition. And it just resonated with me. And it just hit. All the commenters were like, you're a snowflake. Words don't matter. And I was like, wow. Wow, what is happening? And it just, what we talked about was going back to that relax, right? I just had to be like, Nathan, relax. That person doesn't actually know you. You don't know that person. So don't make it too much of a big deal.
What was the mindset behind it besides like relax?
Well, I think if this would have happened before our conversation, I think if I would have seen, "You're what's wrong in the world," that goes back to that tug of war game, right? You're the reason we lost. You're what's wrong here. And so it would be very easy to spiral into that feeling of shame if we didn't go through that. And it's like, just chill out, bro.
Is it that your skin is thicker, or is it that, things like that don't affect you because you have a higher consciousness?
Yeah, I would say it's the consciousness thing. I don't think I've had thick skin, but like, I think that just happens because we live life.
True that. I mean, especially with some of the tribulations that you've probably been through. Is there been anything else to where you found yourself like, wow, like that feels different?
Some of my conversations have been different because I'm able to pull back on the experience and be like, okay, how do I approach this with more compassion? What's my experience of what I'm seeing here? And let's kind of talk into that person. What's their experience? And what I know is I don't want anybody to feel like that kid in the tug of war, regardless of if it's something I agree with or not. And like, I was saying to you with that comment, right? It was like, what do you do here? Do you comment back so my initial thought was, hey, thanks for sharing how you feel. Right? Because there's no, like, I'm not coming at it from a you're wrong standpoint. I'm just saying, hey, I see you. Or do you just let it go, cut it off, and kill the energy? And I think sometimes it's very easy to get caught up in the wanting to respond.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not worth it. But I also think, hey, what I'm not going to do, if that person followed me or whatever, that's still their valid experience. And as long as they're not actually harming me or harassing me, guess what? I'm not going to block them.
Wow, you're still not going to block them. I love it.
Yeah, because that's the reality of the experience. And we get, like, there's different levels of thought, right? And who knows if I'm right? But what I know is at the moment it's right for me, and it can change at any given time where I'm like, okay, yeah, I have a new experience that's telling me this is the way to go.
Wow. So you've already had so much compassion in the world, and now it seems as though it's heightened just a bit.
Yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up. That has to feel good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about all those people that you look up to on social media that have millions of followers. And I was even thinking about the girl that I made the post with, where she's got like 43,000 people who follow her. And I'm like, man, I can only imagine what kind of comments you get. Right. And it led me to write a letter. Like, it's on my Instagram, and it's a real short thing, and it's talking to anybody who considers themselves an influencer or has leadership or influence, like whatever. And the whole thing is, we get stuck in this idea of who we are when we reach a certain level. And not only do we get the idea, but it's reinforced by how people respond to us.
Yeah.
And the biggest pressure, going back to that post, is, wow, can I actually be myself anymore? Because now when people are responding to me, they have an expectation of who I am and what they want me to do. And now I'm feeling so disconnected from myself that I'm super, super lonely. And I think there's so many people that you reach a certain point in fame or celebrity that it's like you forgot that little kid that grew up, and now it's like, I'm not myself anymore. I'm this manufactured idea of who people think I am. And there's so much that resonates with me there in terms of being a person with a disability as well, because both of those ideas, when people see you, they treat you less than human.
Yeah. It's like, it sounds like shame and loneliness go hand in hand. I mean, we talked about how it goes hand in hand before, about how there's the stigma with it, but also if you feel ashamed to be you and you feel isolated from the world, even though we're on social media and we're like in this virtual world, we're surrounded by a bunch of folks, we're still disconnected in so many ways. I mean, and you were just talking about how we're disconnected from ourselves. So the shame, especially like the shame that you release and everything, is directly correlated with that loneliness, because not only are we disconnected from others, but also we're disconnected to a healthy internal representation of ourselves.
And the interesting thing, I mean, the older and the more life experience I get, the reality is we are on this journey alone. Like, we are more alone than we are together. And here's what I mean. So for majority of the time during the day, we're in our head all day. We might not talk to anybody. I wish I had the numbers, because there's a ridiculously low amount of time that we spend talking to anybody.
Yeah.
And yet I think we're looking out for ourselves because that's how we survive. And I think the most powerful thing that you can do and be conscious and try and practice is if you actually sat out and you said, hey, guess what? I know for the most part, most people are thinking about themselves. Like, they're not actually thinking about me. And yet we're so quick to be like, oh my goodness, why did Charles look at me that way? Is he, what's he thinking about me?
Yeah.
Like, and you can be just talking to a group of your friends. I just happen to be in the vicinity and you look at me and I'm like, I made up this whole story that you're thinking about me and you're not. You're like, what am I going to eat later?
So what you're talking about is that internal conversation that people are having.
Yeah. And what I would say is, if you can go out and know that for the most part, most people are thinking about themselves, and you can be the one that goes out and you say, hey, how can I help this person to be seen? How can I acknowledge this person? You just like increased your value tremendously, because you were able to get out of your own way of focusing on yourself and focusing on somebody else to say, hey, how can I help them be seen?
Real talk. And besides, and what other areas of your life has getting rid of the shame improved it, or like affected it in any way, not even necessarily improved?
I think the biggest thing is it's increased my awareness, like just around that topic in general.
Yeah.
And by increasing the awareness there, it creates opportunities for me to ask myself other questions related to other things that are happening in life. And like, so one of the things that it made me start to question is like relationships, right? The question that's come up a lot recently is this relationship a mutual investment? Is there mutual investment here? And I think where that relates back to shame is if I was caught up in shame, it would be like, I will do anything to keep this relationship.
Yeah.
Because I need somebody else other than myself telling me I'm worth it. And so
real shit.
Actually being able to just think about that and say, hey, is this a mutual investment here?
Yeah.
Because like, that's the thing. You know who actually cares about you by how much they're investing in you. And we go chasing the people that we have this, again, it's just an internal idea that's happening. Like, I really like that person. Well, has evidence shown you that they have the same feeling towards you? If not, why are you going to go chasing somebody who doesn't actually want to be with you? And that's friendships, romantic relationships.
Yep.
It's any relationship, because they're all collaborations of energy.
So you're talking about holding a standard to the relationships that you have, whether it be romantic, whether it be friendships in a mutual relationship in that manner. I mean, hell, it also goes for relationships with family. My relationship with my mom has totally changed, that a complete 180 due to this work and the quality of the conversations that we have, and the amount of crap that I'm willing to take from my mom as well.
Yeah. And like, hey, this is a perfect time for this because we just had the holidays, right? So that type of stuff definitely happens during the holidays. I thought myself, and I had to be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't like what's going on here.
Yeah.
And actually stand up and say, hey, can we stop talking about this? Because this is not positive
Yeah.
in any way,
Mm-hmm.
and it caught people off guard. They're like, well, what is happening here?
Yeah. Amen. Good for you, bro. That's not
Yeah,
something that it seems as though that's not something you regularly did in the past.
it's like one of those things that I think you're like, okay, like you said, you put up with so much,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to actually realize for yourself too, like what's the impact of actually doing this,
Right.
and is it worth it? It's
Right.
like the comment all over again.
Yes.
Is giving this more energy worth it or not? And in that moment, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Like right now, it's not worth it to me, and I can feel it. So I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm. Good for you. Wow. Controlling the energy around you in all aspects, whether it be through your relationships and the standards that you hold, the way that you interact with people on social media, and around your family, and the quality of the conversations that are had around you. That is phenomenal, bro. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Hey, bro. Thank you for coming onto the show and being a baggage dropper, yo.
Yeah, man. It was great.
Hell yeah. And just thank you again for allowing us to come, or allow me to come through and to check up on you to see how you been.
Yeah, man. I have loved our conversation. So
Me too.
thank you.
Me too. I think I don't think that this is going to be like a two-time thing. I hope to have more conversations with you as you and I grow within our crafts, quite honestly. Oh,
yeah.
And I get to talk to Dr. Michelle soon enough too. So you already know. I guess I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for your attention and your support, y'all. I really truly appreciate all y'all and love y'all with all my heart. Until next time, on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. I am the self-talk engineer, Charles Woolfork, and our special guest today, Nathan Todd. Thanks again, bro. I'm sure that you guys like this, so go ahead. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're on podcast platform, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you guys take care of yourself and take care of one another. Peace.